Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm here to do a mashup of two VRs. So the first VR is Double Take, which is a VR to 3 fat readers. And the second VR is decks I want to work with in 2023. So it's a little bit of both. Let's just go ahead and take a look at some of these. So the first prompt from 3 fat readers was the two most used decks, Tarot and Oracle from 2022. The Energy Archeology, definitely one of my most used decks. I use this all the time. This is really such a beautiful guide for me. It really digs in deep. I still need to do a full video to just explain really how I work with this deck, because I don't know, it might be a little different than other people work with it. I'm not sure, but this has definitely been one of my most used decks. And this deck was also on my list for 2022 as for decks I want to work with. So this was one of them. Second was Tarot Avatara. I really worked with this deck a lot. I really loved it. This was also on the decks that I want to work with for 2022. This deck I've done a really deep study of, and I just love everything about this deck. For one, it's all about Frida and just using her as a muse in a sense to go ahead and go through the tarot and to relate to. Such a beautiful deck. Everything about this deck is just top, beautiful, gorgeous quality. I love, 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 love this deck. Second prompt was favorite new decks from 2022. They shared two, but I cannot just share two. So some of my favorite new decks from 2022 were, of course, the Ritual Tarot, and then also I did the standout decks of 2022. So there's a few more in that video, but this particular deck blew me away. It really brought me so much courage and so much of just an acknowledgement that, yeah, I know tarot. I'm okay, because I get a little doubtful. Like, do I really know it? Why do I keep looking at this or that and the other? I'm curious about the guidebooks. I really want to know what the guidebooks say. I want to know what the creator had to say. However, this deck really became part of who I am. I really, really love this deck. Tarot of the Strange Antlers was another deck that came to me in 2022 and quickly became one of my favorites. I love the use of energy with the hands. I love the use of the antlers, how they are depicting where she's at within her growth on her journey and how she's feeling. This is just such a beautiful, wonderful deck. And again, actually very extremely intuitive, because I don't understand the guidebook because it's in French, and I just absolutely adore the deck. And of course, this was on one of my standout decks. The Somnia Tarot is also one of my favorite decks from 2022. Such a beautiful deck, and it really, really made me aware that my taste in tarot and oracle has definitely changed. I really adore this deck, and again, one of my favorite tarot decks from 2022. The Death Doula, this deck actually just blew me away. I love it. It is my favorite oracle deck from 2022 by far. I adore this deck. This is beautiful. All of my decks are really within reach, but there's this one little box where I keep the ones that I'm always working with or always pulling, and this one just sits right there because it's always close by to me. Same thing with the Energy Archeology. That deck stays right there because I'm always pulling from these decks. Favorite books from 2022, by far, Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia, who also wrote Mexican Gothic. I read Mexican Gothic this year, but Gods of Jade and Shadow blew me away. I love that book. I was in it from the moment I opened it. That was a beautiful, beautiful book. And then the second book that really had me from the beginning was The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. That book was amazing. I really loved just the concept of that book and how what we do really affects our future generations. Oh my goodness, an amazing, amazing book. Next question was favorite movies or TV series you watched in 2022. Wednesday was amazing. I really loved Wednesday. Moon Knight, oh my gosh, if you haven't watched that, that's on the Disney Channel or Disney Plus, whatever it's called. that one has so many relatable things. As you're looking at that, you're just looking at it going, okay, I get that reference. I understand what they're talking about there. Amazing. Just an amazing, amazing series. And Stranger Things, because Stranger Things is all about like family time for us. So I really love Stranger Things. Next question was crafts and hobbies from 2022. Reading. I really enjoyed reading this year. I had really taken a step back from reading like fiction or magical realism, and stepping back into it this year was really, really good because I've been so focused on reading content that has to do with my spiritual practice and learning and growing spiritually and as a teacher. And I had really pulled back on the actual reading that I was doing, and I missed it. It's so good to be back to just reading books because I'm interested in them, not because they're going to teach me anything, just to kind of allow my mind to wander a little bit. And then also journaling. Journaling was really good for me this year. I really have enjoyed it, and I'll step into this a little bit more in just a bit. Splurges for 2022. So this deer bone wand was definitely one of my splurges. This was from my friends Tara and James over at Desert Cauldron. I absolutely adore this wand. It is just magical and beautiful, and I love it so much. The other splurges would be like my desktop computer. I bought a desktop computer this year to more easily edit and do things that I needed to do for the other classes that I offer. So that was definitely a splurge. So that brings us to our last prompt from the Double Take VR, which is 2 things that I'm most excited for 2023. There's more than 2, but I'm going to go ahead and just start sharing with you, and it kind of feeds in to the decks that I want to work with in 2023 as well. So this is the Tarot de Marseille by Nicolas Conver. I just recently got this deck because I'm going to be digging into the Marseille Tarot this year. This is a system which I've always been very attracted to, but very afraid of. So I have one deck that I'll be sharing with you in just a moment. So this is one of the decks that I'm going to be using in 2023 to deepen my study into Marseille. And I'm very excited about this. So this is one of those decks. The next deck is this deck right here, which is the Tarot Noir, I think. You know what? I can't really remember the actual name of this deck. I've had this deck for years and I love it. It is so beautiful. But as you can see, it's in order. I've tried to work with it a couple of times and I just didn't get it. So I just would keep putting it back in order. But I'm excited to dig into this deck this year. It is just so beautiful. It's big and oversized and obnoxiously large, but I really love the art in this deck, and I'm very, very excited to get to work with this. I also have another deck coming in for this study, for the Marseille Study, which is the, what is it? The Tarocchi, or by Mr Friborg, I believe it's called. I'm waiting for that to come in. I first saw that on Kelly Bear's channel, and I am like, the moment she started sharing it, I was like, skeletons for faces, yes, I'm in. I ordered it right away, and again, one of those decks that I really didn't think about. I just like, yes, I want that deck. So I'm waiting for that because that's going to be adding to some of the decks that I want to work with in 2023. So to facilitate the Marseille study, I have 2 books here that I've decided to work with, and this is the Marseille Tarot Revealed and also Tarot on Earth by our own Tom Benjamin. So I'm excited to get to work with that in 2023. This one I've already been working with. I'm 2 weeks into it at this point. It is a 52 card deck. It is an ecological, spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. Now, I heard a podcast with the creators, and really the cards were created to accompany the book. So it's a little backwards, where usually the book accompanies the cards. Well, in this one, it's a little different, and you can feel it within this book. It's a really, really good book, and it really does encourage you to journal and to think, and I'm really excited about this study. So now I've mentioned a couple of the decks that I had stated I wanted to work with in 2022. And I did work with those, which were the Tarot Avatara and the Energy Archeology, which I have just fallen in love with both. So now let me just go over some of the decks that I still need to do work with in 2023, which kind of are carrying over to 2023. So this is the Black Madonna. And I saw Dawn Michelle sharing this on her decks that I want to work with in 2023. I did work with it a little bit, but it wasn't deep. It wasn't involved. So I still want to go a little bit deeper into this deck and really kind of fine tune where I am with this deck. She was showing it paired up with the Dust Onyx deck, and I am so excited to put those two together. That is going to be an amazing read for me because this is a deep deck. If you look at the guidebook, it really, I know it's a tarot deck, but I think you can really use this more in an oracle sense. So using those two together is going to be amazing. Story Medicine Tarot Baba Yaga Soup. I have yet to work with this deck. It's in order. It's ready to go. I have my Baba Yaga books, which I kind of want to read into a little bit before. I was going to start it at one point, and I got a little sidetracked. I got some more classes, and I just became more involved with teaching a little bit more. I had some more opportunities for some more yoga classes, and so I went ahead and did that. So it's still on my plate for 2023. The Thoth Tarot is another deck that I mentioned. Now, so far, it's been really hard for me to connect with the Thoth, and you know, I'm sure it's just me, but the images are hard for me to relate to. I've seen some people take off the borders, and it really does look more relatable for me when it's like that, but I kind of wanted to leave the deck as is. However, I have been working with other decks and relating them more to the Thoth Tarot, such as the Brady Tarot, and I have a few others which are Thoth related, and I'm kind of focusing my attention on that instead of the actual Thoth because, like I said, it's really hard for me to connect with this one. So let's see how my studies go with the Thoth, but I have been using Tarot Mirror of the Soul as far as almost like my guide, and it's been a lot easier than working with Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot book for me. So let's see how it goes this year. Spirit Keepers Tarot. This is a lifetime work for me. So I've been working with this as a regular tarot deck, and I've enjoyed it. It's just such a beautiful and lovely deck. I know that I'm missing the boat when it comes to working with this deck because there's so much to dig into. I've just been a little short on time because I need to dig into the Book of Maps in order to really get everything that this deck has to offer. So in time, it's not going anywhere, and you know, it'll just be what it is. So this is still on my plate for 2023. On my list for 2022 was a Tarot Yohaliteca. I love this deck. I have worked with it quite intensively. I really love this deck. It means so much to me on so many levels. This is my Mesoamerican deck and my Mexica deck. Oh my goodness, the images are just beautiful. The book is amazing. If you're interested in Mesoamerican studies and tarot, this is the deck to get. It's beautiful. The Lioness Oracle Tarot, yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I did work with it. I love it so much. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck, and I will just continue to work with this deck. It is just another collage deck. I mean, I just really gotten into these collage things. The Lovely Om Tarot was on my list from 2022, and I just fell in love with this deck so much. It is just so beautiful. And this one holds a special place for me. I really love this deck, and it was so good to work with it this year. The Stunning Tarot was also on my list for 2022. I have worked with it some, but you know what? Looking at it, like, I really enjoy working with the deck, but working with it, I realize that it doesn't need to be a deep study. You just work with the deck, and it's an incredible deck. I love the colors within the deck, but I do have to be in a certain place within my mind in order to work with this deck, but it's a great deck. As far as working with planners and journals, I have put everything in my little chic sparrow, I can't remember. I think that's what the name of this little thing is. And this is where I'm keeping track of my journals, and it's really been working out great for me. This is where I'm keeping track of my Cantigee Oracle journal. And then also I just change this out every time this gets full, but this is just a cheapy, deepy little journal that I ordered on Amazon, nothing special, and I have figured out that the easier and simpler I keep it, the more I stay in it. So it's been really good in that respect, where I just mostly journal. I do try to put the Mayan calendar on one side, and some, I'll try to decorate the month before, but it's been working out well for me, just trying to keep things simple. I can't be worried about decorating it, because that's not the purpose, is to decorate my journal. The purpose is to journal within my journal. So keeping it within that mind frame is really good. And then I did see, and I don't even know how I saw it, but I saw this site called Tarot or Journal as an Altar. And so keeping it in that mind frame, I mean, she does it to make the journal beautiful, but it is my altar space. So just releasing and letting go within this space is enough for me. In 2022, I started off using the Magic of I, which I also used this calendar in 2021. It is filled with so much good information. If you are into astrology, this is probably a beautiful, beautiful journal for you, or not journal, but a date book for you. But it just has so much astrology information. It almost became too much for me. I don't know what the deal was. It would have worked fine had I just dedicated myself to it, maybe, but I was losing track of appointments, time, everything else. So I came back to my happy planner. And again, I just keep it simple. I'm gonna push over to 2023, where there's really nothing written in it. I don't decorate it. I just put all my appointments, any things that I have to do for my girls, pick up, conferences, everything, anything is in here, and it's just keeping track of times and dates and everything else, and it works out beautifully for me. Again, I'm not decorating it. I'm not, putting that effort into it. I'm putting that effort into the other things that I've got going within my life, and I'm just keeping it simple. But the Happy Planner has been amazing for me to come back to and stay organized. Now, as far as what is to come for this channel and for myself personally for 2023, this is the Gentle Tarot. I just love this little deck, so I'm just shuffling through it as I talk. For me, it's carving out a little bit more time. I have released one. Did I release a class? Yes, I did. I released one class, which will help give me some more time during the day, just to help work on details a little bit more for more ceremonies. So I'm looking forward to doing more ceremonies, cacao and womb healing, and more healing sessions. I don't know where I stand with my Reiki classes. I really think I want to reformat the way that I was teaching them, because I was really trying to teach them one-on-one. But I think in order to continue doing it, I need to have a small group. I like small groups when I'm teaching Reiki. So I think I need to just reformat it to small groups, maybe 4 or 5 people. And I already have the location that I can teach it at. So I'm kind of restructuring that. And then as far as this channel, I want to continue to do what I'm doing so far. I really love the idea of playing with pairs, which is also another VR to Don Michelle over at Boho Tarot, because it really is reflective of how I work with Tarot and Oracle when they come in, how I decide how I'm going to work with the deck, and how it's best going to suit me within my spiritual practice. So I'm excited about continuing that. Also, responding to VRs has been really fun for me, and it keeps the channel a little bit light and keeps me engaged. So I've really enjoyed doing that. Another thing that I want to continue to do in 2023 is just to continue reading books that have nothing to do with teaching me anything, just for the joy of reading, which I've always just loved so much and just kind of detached from. In 2022, I really came back to that, and I've really enjoyed it. It really is quality time for me. And the last thing that I want to do is I want to kind of incorporate online rituals. And I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like or how often that's going to be, but definitely find a way to offer online rituals, maybe not so much in a public sense, maybe try to find a way to keep that a little bit more tight within the community. So I'm not quite sure how that is going to work out yet. I really have to look into it and think about it, but I do want to offer some rituals online that just, I don't know, for the first year, it'll probably be minimal, maybe 2 or 3 times within the year, and then I'll take it from there. So we'll see. But that's it, guys. That is my 2 VRs in 1 video. I appreciate you being with me this year. Thank you so much for helping this channel grow, for being with me. I'm just in awe of everybody's support and just for being interested in anything that I have to say. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. From my heart to yours, I wish you a beautiful day and a wonderful 2023. I will see you later.